Welcome back to the channel. These are 20 lessons from the book Set for Life that will help you save your first $25,000, invest in your next $100,000, and set you up for a life of financial freedom. These lessons worked for the author, they worked for me, and I know that they can work for you too. So in this video, I'm going to give you the exact blueprint, again, from the book Set for Life, that's going to help you reach financial independence well before you're 65 years old. Here we go. All right, welcome back to the channel. Alex Funk. Subscribe to the channel wherever it is. Click like, pass the video along, comment, follow Unlock with Alex on Instagram. Go to thedreamslist.com. My book is out now. Go ahead, get it, spread the message. I believe in a world where everybody has a dreams list. That's how we bring it to life. Today, in this video, we are going to go through your roadmap to financial freedom, starting with your first $25,000 saved. The first $25,000 that you save is the hardest part of the journey, but it is the beginning of an abundant opportunity for you that is investing and passive income and duplicating your money over and over and rinsing your money over and over again and creating yourself a money river. The first $25,000, again, it's the hardest, but it is the biggest. It's the most important step. Why this $25,000 matters so much is because once you save up your first $25,000, you give yourself so many different types of opportunities. Let's say that you meet the right person who understands the Airbnb game. Like I met the right people, and now we have multiple Airbnbs that are doing really well and will continue to do well because I have the right people in the right places that are helping make that happen. Let's say you run into somebody who really understands the single family housing market and they're ready to help you buy a house. Well, if you don't have any money saved, you can't do that. Let's say you meet someone who really understands duplexes or really understands mobile home parks. Now, all of these different opportunities, they're all great. You could learn about them all day, but if you don't have money saved to take advantage of these opportunities, it doesn't really matter. And so the first step to any sort of investing opportunity is you have to save up that pile of cash. Once you got the pile of cash, the world is your oyster. A lot of people, they don't ever take the time to learn how to do stuff with money, but at the same time, it doesn't even matter because they don't have the money to then deploy into opportunity anyway. And so create yourself the financial runway, make a plan to save $25,000 and you'll be on your path. The rest of this video, I'm actually going to talk about how you can set that up and how you can start that and give you some tips on getting there, which leads to step 2, understanding that, okay, I'm going to save up $25,000. That's step 1. Step 2, frugal living. Frugal living is how you can turn the corner from, okay, I want this to, I'm going to make this happen. For me, I bought my first house at 20 years old. And from there, once you get in the real estate game, it can all kind of layer on top of each other. But again, you got to get in first. So age 19, when I first started learning about this stuff, until age 20, when I bought my first house, that whole year and a half gap right there, I never went out to eat. I always packed. I was the king of PB&Js. Okay, I would bring to every business conference, people would go to Jimmy John's, which there happens to be one literally right there, and I'd never buy anything because I refused to spend money. In college, I used my MAV card for all my food. I didn't go out to eat ever. If I drank, it was, Kharkov is like the cheapest of everything. And I only thrifted. I never went to Lululemon. I had one Lululemon in college and it was from the website Poshmark. I refused to spend money. I rode the bus to school a lot of days. When my friends bought a parking pass, I was like, that's dumb. When my friends bought gym memberships at college, I worked out at the rec center. And from age 19 to 20, I knew I need to get to this. For me, it was 20,000. And now I think with inflation and stuff, I think 25 is probably the number. But I knew I needed to get to $20,000 saved. And I knew it was going to change the course of my life forever. And so I stripped like all of my expenses. So how you can do this, how you can save your first $25,000 is really focus on the big 3. The big 3 is housing, transportation, and food. Instead of focusing on cutting out the small pleasures like getting your Caribou coffee or Starbucks, right? Or getting that Jimmy John sandwich, I think, and this is a hot take for me, I think that focusing on stripping expenses like that is a really dumb place to start. Because if you really do the math on what you're spending on groceries and a Jimmy John sandwich for the macros involved in calories and whatever, it's pretty freaking close. Like you might be spending $5 per meal when you're buying groceries, or you might spend $7 at Jimmy John's. Coffee, it's kind of, I think it's a wash, right? If you're going to get an energy drinker. So I actually think looking at those expenses isn't a good place to start. Where you want to start is the big macro level of your expenses. So starting with transportation. Are you paying a car payment right now? Do you have a lease? Are you paying for a newer car in terms of insurance? That's where you start. For me, I'm in a BMW. It's a company car. I would never get this. I'm actually actively trying to sell my lease right now because my insurance is $400 a month, and I would never spend that. And it takes premium gas, and it does not very efficient. So if it wasn't a company car, like I would never do this because I'm not at a place in my life yet where I feel like I have the luxury to do that. Someday I will drive a really nice car, and someday I will have a brand new iPhone or whatever. But it's when my cash flow from my investments covers that. So in my mind, when I have a house that produces $1,500 a month and it's my 10th house or whatever, that cash flow is going to go towards driving my Cybertruck, right? So I think the way you want to look at payments is if you have payments on a liability, do you have that exact amount coming in from monthly cash flow? If not, you're not there yet. And anyone who is there and sees you spending $1,000 a month on a car when you're not there yet, you don't look cool to them. You actually look dumb. So if I see, for example, a 19-year-old that's spending $1,000 a month on a truck payment or a car payment, I actually see them. I'm like, they just don't get it, and they're stuck. They're stuck in the keeping up with the Joneses. So focus on that, right? Transportation. What are you driving? Can you strip that down? Can you drive a Toyota, Honda? Living. Are you paying excessive amount in rent? Go live with your parents, right? Live with a friend. Live on the couch. When I was 20, and I bought my house, I house hacked, and I lived with 3 random roommates because it paid my mortgage. I lived for free. Was it uncomfortable? Sure. Did we all get used to it? Yeah, it was totally fine. And I hear people say like, oh, I don't want to live with strangers and we don't want to have to rent out. That's fine. Well, you can be uncomfortable right now living with some strangers where you actually get over it. Or you can be uncomfortable for the next 40 years when you're going to work instead of enjoying all of life's pleasures in being financially independent. So I think that you're always sacrificing something. Do you want to sacrifice now in the short term, or do you want to sacrifice for the next 40 years? And that decision is completely up to you, right? So car, living, third one is food. I think, again, hot take, that if you're going to Whole Foods, if you're going to Trader Joe's, if you're buying all of those groceries, like there's a case to be made that paying more for food now and less for hospital, less for medical, whatever, like there's a case to be made there for sure. But I think that there's so many people who are uneducated when they go to the grocery store. They spend a buttload of money on groceries that end up getting thrown away or aren't actually a good bang for the buck. When, yeah, going to Chipotle probably actually would be a better financial decision. So if you're going to get groceries, go to Walmart. It kills me when I see people shopping at Cub Foods or Target for groceries. It's like you're paying double for groceries if you get them at Target. So it's waking up to, hey, if you're going to eat food every day, being as financially frugal with that as you possibly can be. And that doesn't mean stripping out Chipotle or Jimmy John's. For me, it means going off the dollar per macro per calorie ratio. I try to have all my meals, for every 10 grams of protein, it's 100 calories and costs me $1. So for example, if I'm going to have lunch and it's Jimmy John's, okay, or it's groceries, whatever, it has to be, in this example, let's say 60 grams of protein, less than 600 calories, and costs less than $6. So so if you go to Jimmy John's, you get the JJ Gargantuan. It's 80 grams of protein, 1,000 calories, and $11. It's actually pretty good. So there are ways that you can do this. All right, last few things in terms of frugality, things that I did, things whatever. I mentioned the Poshmark, right? When you're not at that $25,000 rock yet, I want you to really consider what is going to be good enough for me. And that might be all your clothes. For me, I still, to this point, I thrift all my books. I never buy a book brand new. I think it's a total waste of money unless you're buying my book, thedreamslist.com. But thriftbooks.com, you can get books for $2-3. Goodwill, I go to all the time. I'll stop at a Goodwill just to look for books. And I walk in, there's 10 books that I'm like, ooh, I want this, $20. So what can you get by right now what can you get that's good enough that you will save a bunch of money on? Buying things used. For example, this microphone set. I actually got this used. Why? It's good enough. It works. My phone. I've had the same iPhone since 2021. It's almost 4 years old now. And are there days where I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to have a a better phone? Sure, but is it good enough? 100%. And I'm not even at that build the $25,000 stage yet. So I want you to consider where in your life could you get by with just getting good enough. Last few things in terms of saving your first $25,000, it all starts with the first movement. So set your goal $25,000 over the next 12 months and then break that down. It usually is going to be a momentum snowball. So start with your first 1,000 and then celebrate your first 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. It's all a snowball. Last thing I'll say about saving your first $25,000 is you have to have a good earning opportunity. And I'm going to say this right now. Being from the sales world, growing up in the Cutco world, the reason that I made enough money to buy my first house is because I had a sales job and it was selling Cutco, an expensive, high quality product made in America that people love and people use every day. And it's not a hard product to sell. What was difficult about selling Cutco when I was brand new? Getting over my own ego and learning sales is all new, right? So if you are going to be open to the opportunity of sales, which is unlimited income opportunity, and for me, that $25,000 I saved for my first house, I actually made $30,000 that summer with Cutco. If you're going to be open to the world of sales, do it where the product is unmatched and do it where you don't actually have to be good at sales. You don't actually have to have an amazing pitch. Do it where it's a product that sells itself like Cutco. And that's where I learned how to sell. That's where I think everyone should learn how to sell because people love it. And if they're not going to buy it from you, they're going to buy it from somebody else. This isn't some kind of Cutco sales pitch either on the product, or I'm not trying to sell you Cutco. I'm not trying to sell you on the job or anything like that. But I'm just saying, if you're trying to save up to $25,000 and you are like, I don't even know how I'd make that much, go get a sales job. Go sell something. Go get a job where it's not dependent on you showing up and you putting in the hours. Go get a job where it's dependent on the value that you bring. Last tiny little thing, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind is a great book. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind is a great book. I ran out of time on this video. I talked a little longer on things. I'm probably actually going to name this Saving Up Your First $25,000 instead of what I was going to do, which was a whole bunch of other bullet points, and we'll save those for a different video. But I just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Subscribe to the channel. Follow Unlock with Alex on Instagram, and I will help you go from not just trying to save up money, but I will help you on that account to buying your first house, getting your first Airbnb. Go to alexrfunk.com for more free resources, or go to thedreamslist.com to see my book, buy my book. And hey, I believe in a world where everyone's a dreamer. Everyone has a dreams list. You're next. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching.